What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, I wanted to readdress Hot Toys Superman from the most recent Superman film because I ended up canceling my Hot Toys one for InArt. But now I'm seeing potentially some updates to the Hot Toys one that's making me question whether I made the right choice. So I want to run it by you guys out there in the world. Let's talk about it. But if you guys like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
Oh, pardon me, but it's
Ben Thomas Showtime. Let's go.
Okay guys, welcome back. So I wanted to recap kind of what had happened previously. When this pre-order went up, essentially, Hot Toys was on fire, right? We were thinking, man, it's awesome that they're giving us David Corenswet's Superman this close to the actual film. That's awesome, just kind of like they did with the Deadpool figures, right? But then InArt drops theirs, and of course, it creates chaos for us collectors, right? Because especially if you like to collect both companies, for me, I'm gonna look for the best option, and when they were both good for different reasons, it made it a little bit tricky to determine which one I wanted. But I ended up actually canceling my Hot Toys version, losing my NRD, and going in with the InArt because I thought the dog looked a little bit better. I did think the likeness to David Corenswet was better on the InArt version. I just liked the proportions of the InArt one a little bit better as well. He was more slender, you didn't see as much popping of the muscles, and he had different interchangeable boots that could make him look like he was flying. Like, there was a lot there. But I still liked the Hot Toys representation for a couple different reasons. It was more alive. He looked happier or something in the sculpt. Like, he just doesn't look as doom and gloom as the InArt one does. And there's even a head sculpt that InArt gives with his eyes closed that to me doesn't make any sense because he doesn't do that in the movie. It's more of a Henry Cavill moment in my recollection more than it would ever have been David's. And so I think that that's a funny head sculpt to have, even though it's cool for posing and photography. I'll give it credit. But I liked the hopefulness that the Hot Toys one represented. To me, it actually captured David a little bit more from the film, in my opinion, and his representation of Superman. So I thought you could kind of win both. But what I didn't love about Hot Toys was how bulky he looked in the suit in the representation that Hot Toys was giving us in the prototype. He was way too jacked. He almost looked like a bodybuilder. Whereas David did get freaking huge for Superman. I'll give him some credit. But not to the ripped extent that I think a lot of us probably wanted for Superman, if I'm honest. And one of the passes that I'd given Hot Toys was, hey, you know what? If we're going to get a ripped Superman, at least it's in figure form, at least it can look badass in the display. But the idea behind 6-scale collecting for me has always been trying to get the truest representation of the character. I don't want to have an inflated version of my Superman. I want him to look like how he looked in the film. I want that 6-scale representation on the shelf. And so I chose InArt. But Hot Toys, after like 3 months of pre-order, has already released this. Now, it's pretty crazy. Depending on where you get it from, you might not get it right away, of course. But I did take a look at Sideshow, and it's already showing as low stock. And I can see why. I think this is the power of photography to a certain extent, right? I didn't think the blogger photos on this were terrible by any stretch, but they weren't selling me on the figure, you know? InArt did a better job, in my opinion, of showcasing their figure and selling us on it a little bit. These blogger photos of this release look fantastic. Now, I will say they've obviously kind of slimmed him down in the suit a little bit. The proportions have changed subtly. I also think that one of 3 things is playing tricks on my eye with regards to the head sculpt, because it looks like it's either slightly different paint, slightly different texture, slightly different sculpting, or just better lighting. So I guess that's 4 things. Is it just better lighting, or is it the same sculpt? Because to me, it does look better. He looks more natural. The hair looks a lot darker, even a slightly styled differently, but at closer glance, I think it's pretty much the same hairstyling. I think they've just painted it darker. The chest emblem is also a lot darker on the update here, whereas from the photos, from the promo, it just was kind of washed out looking almost. A little cartoony, whereas I think that they've made this look a little bit more like the film, so to their credit on that as well. I also think that they've improved the red diaper or underwear or whatever you guys want to call it. It didn't bother me. In fact, for me, I think Superman in the classic mind's eye representation of him to me, he wears the red trunks. He does. I loved Henry Cavill, don't get me wrong. He looked freaking awesome in his suit. But I think Red Trunks suit Superman. And it would be cool to see a Batman in the DC universe in the future, in my opinion, with the gray, the blue, and the yellow. But he'd have to have the blue trunks too, right? If he's really comic representation. So I think it'd be cool, but maybe not. We'll see, I guess. For all of you guys who wanted yellow suited Wolverine, hey, you got that on screen eventually, and it looked freaking cool. So let's hope, cross our fingers on that. But guys, I think this looks better. And for $285, and you can get it so much faster than in art, right? Because that's the thing for me with in art. Like, I waited for the Robert Pattinson figure for I think 3 years. Like, it was at the point where I almost had to watch the movie again because I couldn't remember it as well anymore. Like, my nostalgia for it was gone by the time I got the in art figure. I like the fact that Hot Toys is giving us this as quickly as they are, and with some of the improvements that I think honestly collectors were calling for. The photos are also better. And so it could be playing tricks on our eyes just a little bit there. It might not be as dramatic as we think, but posed up, it looks really good. I still think my only main criticism of the figure itself would be I like the idea the in art gave us the swappable boots, even though these are adjustable, so you could get a more permanent look for a flight pose. I do think while this blogger, photo artist, and poser did a great job, a commendable job, on posing this figure to the best of their ability, it looks damn restricted in the outfit as well, so I have a feeling this is going to be very much a museum pose for most folks in the display. He's got really tight bunching in the material there, you can tell, which, again, we know what we're signing up for when we're shopping figures, so not surprising, but might feel disappointing if this is your first figure and you realize that some of these poses are actually possibly going to damage the suit over time. I also wish that for this figure they could hide that neck seam just a little bit better, maybe get it up closer to the jaw level, because right now it's pretty egregious. Like, if you're turning Superman's head to the left or the right, it's an ugly seam, real ugly, and it breaks the immersion for me in terms of the, again, what feels like that person on the shelf, right? It makes it look more like a figure. So that would be a nitpick that I wish they'd still improved at the time of release, but you can pose that away. I do think that this looks better than the prototype, and it's kind of made me want to buy it so that I've got this representation in my collection sooner. But then when I canceled the in art one, like, I'd already canceled this, and then I rebuy it, and then I think about canceling the other one. And honestly, when I look at both of these on screen, the in art versus the Hot Toys, I like them both for different reasons. I still think in art wins on the likeness just a little bit, but the figure that Hot Toys has given us here is freaking awesome, and I am stoked for you guys who are getting this, and it's making me have the fear of missing out. I kind of want to get it, even though I still don't feel like I need to in the display. So you guys let me know what the best choice is. Now that we've seen the release of Hot Toys here, should I stick with my in art if I've gone that direction? Should I consider coming back to Hot Toys and seeing if I can get it in, maybe for a review, or just my thoughts on it in hand a little bit sooner? Love to hear from you guys in the comments. But if you guys liked the video today, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.